Massachusetts man is forced to start a new life after being deported to Sicily. Here is the story of Carmen DiMarca, a stranger in a not-so-strange land, and why he is desperately trying to return to the States. Carmen DiMarca was 6 months old when his family, mom, dad, and 3 older brothers, left Sicily in search of the Promised Land, the United States of America. The year was 1956, and like many immigrants, they arrived to New York first.
We came with a boat and we arrived in New York, and then we went to Lawrence, Mass. We resided there. I went to school there. My brothers on Newbury Street in Lawrence, the North End, where there was all Italians at the time. Didn't have to shut the door, lock the doors, anything. And it was a great time, you know. All I have is great things to think about it. And I grew up, I loved to cook because of my mom, actually. And I cooked and I got into music. And that's what I've been doing for the whole, while I was in Lawrence. I opened up a restaurant on Essex Street called the Villa Cafe, which went well for a few years.
But Carmen also took part in some illegal activities for which he spent 6 years in prison.
I made a mistake in 2005. I paid for it dearly with 6 years of my life.
A few months before his scheduled release, he found out there was a possibility he could get deported.
I thought it would never happen because I lived in the States for 50 years and I've never gotten in any trouble other than maybe a parking ticket. And my final year being incarcerated, they said, you have a chance of, getting deported. I kind of laughed it off. I said, no way, I've never done anything wrong other than this mistake there. And that's how I found out, and it blew my mind. I was completely in awe because, my family, my son, my daughter, my mom that I've been taking care of for, the past 10 years, with the help of my brothers, of course, but, I lived with my mom. Upstairs. She had an apartment downstairs. I had my recording studio on the first floor, and I lived on the third floor. And when I found that out, I said, I just didn't believe it.
Carmen admits it's his fault. He did not follow through on becoming an American citizen. And so, as an undocumented felon, he was subject to deportation. In 2011, he received the unthinkable news. He would be deported, forced to leave the country he grew up in, worked in, raised a family in, a place he called home for over half a century. Carmen never even got a chance to say goodbye to his children, brothers, and mother. Instead, he was driven to LaGuardia Airport and sent to Rome. You got out of jail, they took you to the airport in New York and said, ciao?
Yeah, I just see you later. They paid for a ticket, and I was in Rome. And
what were you thinking? This is surreal?
Oh, it was like something, you're watching a movie and you say, oh, it never could happen to me. And it was my mind blown, now I'm in Rome and I have no family. I don't know, my family's all here in Sicily. So I'm saying, how do I get to Sicily now? What's my next step? I got to take a plane, have a little money in my pocket because after working, for $2.50 a week, being incarcerated after 6 years, you end up with a little money. And so I'm thinking I got to catch a plane to go to Sicily. And in the last 3 months while being incarcerated, I made some phone calls to my brother, who I said, listen, to my oldest brother, Nunzi, I said, you got to see if I'm welcomed at a place to stay in Sicily, or do I got to rent, what do I do? I don't know what to do, it's it's a new land. It's being thrown, it's like, you live in one place all of a sudden, and then you're thrown someplace where, again, thank God I had family here.
Did you ever come to Sicily before?
Yes. One time when I was 7 years old, and another time when I was 10 years old. As a matter of fact, I brought a picture. How ironic it is that I'm standing there with my grandfather and my family in front of the place that I'm living now. I was lucky enough, though, because they had told me, like I said, a few months prior to that I'm definitely being deported, to grab 20 pounds of clothes, which is, a few underwear, t-shirts, pair of sneakers and stuff like that. And that's how I arrived in Rome. With no clothes I had, no pictures, no, no suit coat, no,
Nothing.
Nothing, just with that backpack of underwear and t-shirts and socks. So it was kind of crazy, and the shoes I had on, you know. It was mental, it was crazy. Family in Sicily, Danuccio, Gioia, and Sera, Caterina, and Salvo, and Domenico. You see Mount Etna right there, but the clouds, because it's been raining, you're not seeing anything.
Thankfully, his family in Sicily took him in. Today, Carmen lives in Catania, the second largest city in Sicily. It has taken him a while to understand what happened and to start a new life in a country he has only visited twice as a child.
Yeah, so the first year and a half, I was just getting my bearings straight. You know, I didn't even, you know, they didn't even let me bring a guitar here. You know, because I get guitars, basses, and you know, I own a recording studio in the States. They didn't let me take none of that. So now, you know, I got here, lucky enough, a cousin of mine played guitar, and he let me borrow an acoustic guitar. But it took me about a year and a half to get into it, you know.
Get over the shock.
Absolutely. I didn't want to do nothing, you know. And, but then I have a great, like my brother, Nuccio, who finally said, you know, get up off of your butt and do what you do best, which is play music. So I got involved with some people. Finally, because of Nuccio, he introduced me to some people, and that ball started rolling now, and now I'm playing at the pubs and stuff, and I got my new band, the Carmen Jackson Band, happening. And they love American music here, and I'm doing a lot of my original songs and stuff like that, and it's so beautiful here. My cousin lives here now.
Carmen took us to his home, the place he visited over 4 decades ago when his uncle lived there.
Esther, welcome to my humble abode.
Wow. His one-room apartment is small, but full of history. Carmen has created a shrine to his family, past and present, including the years he spent in Massachusetts.
That's the feast of St. Alfio in Lawrence, Mass. in 1955. Just to show you how many people, Italians, were living around the corner with my house.
What do you miss the most about living in the States?
I think mostly, to be honest with you, is like the years that I built up being a musician and having the contacts there to play and being able to work. And naturally, what I've learned over the years, as the old saying says, if you're lucky to count, your friends in one hand, you are lucky. And I miss those few people that I, consider my friends, and I love them very much.
Yeah.
And my family, of course.
Of course.
And that's that. I mean, other than that, man, Sicily, I wish, Sicily's fantastic. The food, I can go on for hours talking about Sicily, you know what I mean? And, but again, like I'm saying, this is the first time I don't go on Facebook and say, it's fantastic, but it is. And number one, it's the family. It's always the family. You want to see a family. I do. I'm that type of guy. You know what I mean? My son Lucas and my great brother Orazio. My daughter Sophia, when they were young, and then they got a little older. And
but he's desperately trying to return to the United States to see his ailing mother, who's over 96 years old. He says his lawyers are working on it, but there's no definitive answer yet.
I talk to her, she knows who I am, my voice. It's not, she don't have Alzheimer's, but she's just getting old.
Yeah.
And sometimes she remembers and sometimes she doesn't. And, but she knows it's me. She'll say, hello, Carmelo, come and see you, and she'll ask me, where are you? And I tell her, I'm in Sicily. She goes, well, what are you doing there? So I say, I'm just hanging out for a few months. I'll be home soon. Even if it's for 2 months, if I could go home, see my family, pack some of my gear, my clothing, see my family, and come back, I says, that'd be phenomenal. He says, Carmen, I want you to come back and stay as long as you want. That's what we're trying for. And I asked him, I said, is it yes or no yet? Let me know. And he says, well, it's definitely not no, and it's definitely not yes. So it's driving me a little crazy because, I would love to know one way or the other, where I stand. So I could get on with things, you know what I mean?
If you don't get a chance to go back and see your mom in her final days, what's something you want to say to her watching?
I'll say it in English first because now being in Sicily at an older age, I realize everything she has done for me. That being younger I took for granted, I didn't realize, but being here and still how they're using these the same ways of growing up, having a veal cutlet without sauce, just breads. I never knew it then, but now I see things. And I want to say, Mama, te voglio bene, sempre sin la mia vita.
Carmen, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much. I want to thank you finally that we met, and let's play a little music after. Hallelujah.